Welcome, guys. Welcome to probably Depression TV. If I'm being honest, that's how I feel about both my football clubs right now. Of course, welcome back to La PIñA Rosa, where we talk about Palermo, of course, my club, and 10 for Deportivo La Coruña as well. Of course, both teams in the second division of both Spain and Italy. One team is big up to Luca, talks Dons as well. One team tops their table, looking strong. The other team is clearly, shitting themselves under the pressure of, the expectations that were set at the start of the season. But before we get into it, of course, please do like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. Big up to AJ as well, every single time.
Congrats on the win.
I can't say that, but big up to AJ every single time. No, I can't even say anything. I'll be honest. I can't even say anything. It is what it is. We suck. We fucking suck. That's all there is to it. But anyway, we're here to talk about Palermo, which is another one of my poor teams that are just doing absolutely nothing right now. And yeah, as AJ says, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's being streamed on both channels, of course, so subscribe to 10 as well if you haven't already as well. 10. Big up. Look, it was a much better weekend for you. It's been to be honest, it's been a much better just few games in general for you, for both your teams. Have you been? Welcome back as always.
Yeah, doing good. It seems like the horrors of October and the away games of Newcastle kind of been erased this weekend. But obviously we'll talk about the Newcastle Spurs stuff when we get there on Thanksgiving.
Thursday.
It'll be a great
Thanksgiving. Yeah, big up to Anthony. Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, really I was on Steve's watch along, Strasbourg Steve, and I was actually like, you know what?
To be fair, Hakan Çalhanoğlu missing a penalty must have been sweet for you guys, Milan fans, of course. But yeah, big up to AJ every single time. But I guess we will start today with Deportivo, as Deportivo have played 2 games since the last show. Of course, they played during the international break, whereas Serie B don't play during the international break. And Deportivo are, it's fair to say, on a really good run of form. They've won 4 games in a row. And, of course, that means they do top the table. We'll start off with the first of those wins. That was away from home against Córdoba, as you can see here. Deportivo, look, they went in front. They were pegged back with an equaliser. However, 2 goals, a penalty, Hernandez, and then David Maya right at the end to see off the game after Córdoba went down to 10 men. Just take a look at the stats. Look, to be honest, I'll just see it here. As you can see, look, Córdoba had periods in the game. I thought from what I saw in the first half, they sort of had the better of things a bit. Second half, it's where Deportivo sort of came more into the game. And look, 3 shots on target, 3 goals at the end of the day. And it was a win that in the end, they probably did deserve. Obviously, Córdoba going down to 10 men definitely helped Deportivo see it out. David Maya is obviously somebody that 10 has talked about for a while. I don't know if you've seen this, but he's been linked with a few clubs now. He's getting some interest from La Liga clubs, in sort of the top division. A very young Spanish player went to the U20 World Cup recently. He's somebody that, is now starting to sort of get recognized from just outside of the Segunda División in Spain. 10. Thoughts on your first of 2 wins? Obviously, Yeremy Hernandez with 2 assists as well. Should I add? So, thoughts on the 3-1 win?
Yeah, it was a really good win. Obviously, getting a win away at Córdoba is obviously very difficult because I remember last season. This game ended 2-0 for Córdoba last season, but now we beat them 3-1. And this was like when we did this show last 2 weeks ago. I did say this one to be a draw because I wasn't sure. And Córdoba were also on a good run of form, but at the end we won this game. Obviously, I would say very good performance from Yeremy, but that's almost like every game now. I would say. I think he's
another one that you're gonna have to do well to keep hold of. I think. That's
I mean,
you see, David Mayer, they're definitely. I know Mayer didn't start this game, but they're definitely two players, obviously still at a young age, that I think you build the team around them and you keep going. I think that's definitely where you can base a lot of your game off those two.
Yeah, and I think having those two players fit and available definitely helps Deportivo, because obviously when David Mayer was at the U20 World Cup in Chile, that was kind of when the performances and the form at least kind of dipped for Deport. That was like the 5-game winless run, more or less, and then obviously since then, since kind of coming back, and probably since Halloween, Deportivo have won every single game. So it's probably no coincidence that David Mayer not being there, Deportivo not do well. When David Mayer's, kind of back into the Deportivo camp, then, start winning games more or less. And big up to Madrid 7-8-8-6. Unfortunately, you couldn't get the win.
Oh yeah, Elche. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
But overall, this game against Córdoba, I would probably say we probably deserved the win. I would say I know Córdoba had a lot of shots, but I just think that I'll be honest, our team is better. And obviously with Córdoba, they had Zidane, one of the sons of Zinedine in midfield.
Yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, Zidane. There you go. Look, Theo Zidane. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but oh yeah, I'm not sure what to score. To be honest, I do want his haircut to be cut. So come on,
Man. They're on a streak of 0. So
yeah, I think Man United could actually finish the 5 if they win 5 in a row. It would be against Newcastle, the 5th game. But yeah, doing good. But yeah, this game against Córdoba, I would probably say I wouldn't say it was a comfortable performance, but it was something to build on, and obviously we did because we won the next game this past Sunday. But yeah, I think overall very good performance. You could say the red card definitely helped because obviously 2 minutes later we scored from the penalty. Jeremiah, obviously. But yeah, overall very good game in general, I would say.
Yeah, look, definitely a good. In the end, like you said, Córdoba not an easy place to go, that's for sure. And to come out with 3-1, I think is definitely a great result for you guys. Moving on to, of course, your other win that you got since the last show. If I can just find it here, you got a win at home against Ceuta, 2-1 win. 2 goals from Jeremiah again, and then Stoichkov. Fernandez got one back late on, but it wasn't enough for Ceuta to get a draw from this game. Deportivo ended up seeing it out in the end. Where is it here? Just looking at the wrong one. Looking at the stats. Look, overall, Deportivo I think deserved it. Just looking at what I've seen, obviously going 2-0 up. I think the difference in this game was clearly, I think, the attacking quality up front. Look, Ceuta did have their chances from what I saw, but couldn't quite take them. Had a few missed opportunities, and I think it was just one of those games where I think. I thought, was it Deportivo's best game of the season? No, but I think that, in the end, they did enough, and I think the quality in front of goal was obviously a lot better than Ceuta. But obviously 2-1. Tem, what was your thoughts on the game and your performance, which of course means you go right to the top of the table. Look, it's very tight. You're level on points with Santander and Las Palmas. Almeria only a point behind, so it's 3 teams on the same points. It's extremely close, but 15 games played. It's not looking too bad. We're getting sort of, towards, the halfway point of the season, and albeit there's still quite a few games to go. But another win for Deportivo and a 4-game winning streak sees you go to the top of the table. What was your thoughts on this game and the performance?
Yeah, I think before Ceuta scored the sort of, you could say, the goal.
Ceuta, my bad, I was pronouncing it wrong. Ceuta.
Yeah, even I was pronouncing it wrong before. But yeah, I think before Ceuta scored, I think we definitely controlled this game against Ceuta a lot better than we did against Córdoba, and and some teams before we've played at home. But obviously now, once again, Yeramai scoring, no surprise.
Yeah.
And then obviously coming off Stoichkov, really good pass. I believe it was from Bafia. It was like literally all the way through the defense over the top, and then Stoichkov, not the famous Bulgarian back in the day, but you could say
they're different Stoichkov, not that
one.
one.
From Barcelona, Bulgaria, and all. But yeah, very very good finish from him. But overall, I would say when Ceuta did score, I was a bit worried because obviously, maybe they could pull one back, and they almost could have. Like there was like one or two opportunities.
Yeah, they definitely got themselves back into the game after that goal, and obviously things sort of shifted. But you held your bottle in the end.
Yeah, thankfully. And then obviously we could have made it 3-1 at the end, but it was a really good save by the goalkeeper over there. But yeah, at the end we got the win, and look, now it's actually the first time Deportivo's won 4 games in a row this season.
They're close to the 5 games in a row.
Oh yeah, please. Oh, it'd be so funny. Well, we'll talk about the Albacete game in a bit, but who knows? Maybe we could do 5 before Man United do 5 in a row.
Yeah, Everton down to 10 men. I just address a gay early on.
Oh damn. But yeah, overall, this game against Ceuta was, I would say, comfortable until they scored. I would say, but it was a good win, and obviously now, as you said, we are top of the league with I think 29 points. But it's very close between like 5 teams at the moment. So it's still a long way to go, and yeah, I do think that come the end of the season, am I confident we get at least top 6? I'm not sure, but at the moment,
no, you're in the race. That's for sure.
I mean,
you look at this. I mean, being in this position is obviously where you want to be in the automatic spots.
Yeah, 15 games in, but obviously there's 42 games of the regular season, so we have to wait and see. And obviously the reason why we're above Santander and Las Palmas, even though we have the same points, is goal difference. So and we're actually, I believe, like the second joint top goal scorers, along with Almeria and obviously Santander are first. But as we all know, Santander are known for conceding every game, but they actually kept the clean sheet.
They're top scorers, and then they're like conceding. They've conceded some of the most in the league.
Yeah.
So, big up to Dantrum as well in the chat. There's been a bit disappointed with Palermo. Yeah, look, we'll get into it. Listen, I'm fuming, if I'm honest, with what's going on. Yeah, no, you're spot on. Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah. But overall, this game for Deportivo, it was good. And obviously with the league table, top of the league.
Still very early, though. Yeah, I think you shouldn't get carried away, but I think it's fair to say that you've definitely been one of, if not the best team so far, along with Santander, Las Palmas, Almeria. Look, if they win their game in hand, they go to the top regardless. So, it just shows you, Almeria, they were down there at the start of the season. It just shows you how it can change.
Even Castellon.
The second division in Spain, I remember you were telling me it was really close as well. It was crazy what happened.
Remember when Andorra were in the top 2? They just sacked their manager and they're in the bottom 4.
Yeah, look, relegation. FC Andorra, the team that Pico owns.
Yeah. And since we did the last show, Zaragoza won 2 games.
They won still rock bottom,
but one of their wins was against the big rivals, Huesca. So that was a big win for them. But yeah, for Deportivo, do I think we're contenders now for automatics? Yeah, I would say. But whether that actually happens after game 42, who knows? But I will say we do have, I think if you want to compare us, Santander I'd probably say Las Palmas and Almeria, you probably are expecting them to be maybe the top two because obviously they just recently played in La Liga, Las Palmas last season and Almeria a couple seasons ago. So you could expect them to be the ones finishing in the top two. But if you had to pick between Deportivo and Santander, I would probably say most people would say Deportivo mainly because of the fact that we don't concede as many as Santander, which is, I would say, a huge plus for us. I hope. I hope not famous last words. But I think overall for Deportivo, I definitely say we are contenders to get into the top two, or at least minimum playoff, which was what I expected at the start of the season. Like at least playoffs and see from there. But obviously, if more, the better, you know. So it'll be tough with the next few games. There's only like what 4 games plus the Copa del Rey game against Sabadell in 10 days from now. But I do think overall we are going to be okay by the time it's Christmas, New Year, and all that. Um, they are still like we haven't played Las Palmas, which I think will be the next big test for us. And you know, as I said before, when we had our bad run of form, you know, which was when we were winless in 5 and we drew 1-1 at home against Valladolid like a month ago. I said, "Oh, you know, November. I hope." I said in November that you know our fixtures actually become better, and I said, you know, if we start winning games in November, then
That's what's happened.
yeah,
You've taken advantage of this sort of easier run on paper,
yeah,
and look, you're beating the teams you know that you should be doing. And yeah, 100%, a very underrated league.
yeah,
You're beating the teams you should be sort of beating, and that's kind of why you find yourselves at the top. You went through that sort of bad patch, you know, during October where you know you drew quite a few games and everything, but you
yes,
know, still, look,
Malaga,
you've only lost 2 games in 15, which is obviously
which is
impressive.
actually the joint best.
Exactly, yeah. So that's already impressive in itself. So you can start, you know, you started to convert some of the draws into wins. You know,
That's the thing. Yeah.
you're winning consistently. But you're right. We'll see what happens when you come up against Las Palmas, when you play Almeria, which I don't think you've played yet either.
No, we played 1-1.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
I
we
forgot. Yeah, I forgot you played
yeah
Almeria. Yeah,
amongst the top 5, which are the teams you would probably say are the contenders, like from Burgos up. We apart from not playing Las Palmas, we've lost to Santander, drew with Almeria, drew with Burgos. So against
the
this
teams
season,
around you, yeah, and you're beating sort of apart from Malaga where
yeah,
you lost badly, you're
yeah,
beating sort of the teams
everyone else,
that
yeah.
you should be. So I think at the moment, I mean, obviously you can speak more on this, but I think from what I'm seeing, Deportivo right now is looking promising. But we'll see, obviously, what happens in the you
Yeah,
know tougher tests as well.
yeah, because I think obviously I have to remember. I think we still have some easier fixtures um, in the next few
And look, if
games.
you're gonna to finish in any of the second divisions, if you're gonna get promoted, you have to be consistently winning these kind of games because it's a very tight league. It's a very competitive league, and you know one slip up, you know, you
Yeah,
find yourself suddenly all the way down, you know, into the playoff and into the playoffs and everything. So
and maybe even down. Yeah, because
exactly,
actually, you know, I just remember looking at the fixtures. We, you know, you could say we do have a favorable one still until New Year's when you think about it with Deportivo. Um, obviously, because I think we obviously the next game Albacete away, and then we play Sabadell in the cup, a team in the 3rd division, so a little bit more tougher test in the cup. But then we play Castellon and Sociedad B team at home, who are winning as far as I know right now, and Andorra,
against Valladolid, yeah,
yeah, which is actually good because I don't. Well, one Sociedad can't even get promoted because Sociedad are in La Liga,
yeah.
unless
So wait, what would happen if I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say if Sociedad B finished in the top two, what would happen? Would like
I think they're
their
just ineligible.
would their automatic
Or
promotion go to
down.
third? Would it
I
go to
think so.
third or
Yeah,
something?
because there's no way. Because I know you
Yeah,
can't have reserve teams in the
it's the same in Italy because we have them in Serie C, but obviously for you guys, you have them in the second division, which is obviously
which
different.
I don't like.
So,
but oh well.
Yeah. No, I think they should be in at most they should be in the third division.
Yeah, but for Deportivo, the next the games before the Christmas New Year, because after Christmas New Year, it's probably the two tough tests. January 4th, more or less, Cadiz at home, which is a tough team.
Yeah.
And then the one after that, on the 11th of January, is away at Las Palmas, which is the other tough team. And that's, after a 2-week sort of break in the Segunda, you could say so, or even 3 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can at least be consistent from where we are now until Andorra, you could say, until New Year's, basically. But
in terms of your next game against Albacete, they're sitting in 12th right now, so I've had been quite inconsistent in terms of their form, kind of up and down. I think looking at Deportivo right now, I'd back you guys, to be honest. Albacete, they don't seem like the type of team that I think, on current form can sort of cause you guys problems. I personally think. Wait, is it home or away? I forgot already.
Away at their ground.
I think you could. I think that should be a win for you guys. If on current form, another sort of favourable fixture, you could say. I back Deportivo. I'll go for you guys to win 3-1 in that game. What's your sort of thoughts on the game and your prediction for your?
Albacete's form in the last 5 is loss, win, loss.
Yeah, inconsistent.
Win, loss. I hope the
pattern.
You never know, but I know last season, I forgot what was one of the other games, but last season we did beat them 5-1 at home.
Right.
But obviously that was last season, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I probably would say that the game against Albacete is, it will be tough, obviously. And I'll probably say, if we want to continue being at the top of the league, as far as I know, because I believe the replay of the Ceuta Almeria game is happening in midweek this week, the one that got postponed because of the unfortunate event there. But I think, and obviously over Dandrum says Almeria away is tricky. Yeah, we have to play them.
Yeah.
I forgot when, actually. March or
April? Almeria, I know it's been a couple of years now, but I always, whenever I see them, I always think of that Madrid game where they got just absolutely robbed. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. A couple of years ago.
They went 2-0 up at the Bernabeu, and they just got absolutely. I remember they got absolutely fucked by the referee. I'll never forget.
Yeah. So but obviously, even if they won that game, they would still get relegated.
They would have still been relegated that season, yeah. And they obviously ended up getting relegated.
And even if Real Madrid lost that game, they still would have won. Well, they won La Liga and the Champions League. I wonder who predicted that. But yeah, with Albacete, prediction-wise, I will say, hopefully we continue our good form. I will go with a 1-0. 1-0.
Bit more of a closer one. Yeah, I reckon 3-1. 3-1, I think, for Deportivo. I think on form, I think this is a game that they'll look at and think that, if they can take 3 points and keep the form going, just keep themselves at the top. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Almeria's game in hand and everything. But yeah, I back Deportivo to win there. They're showing really good form right now. Even though he hasn't started the last couple of games, David Meyer, somebody, like I said, I've been seeing a few rumours about him going around. Obviously, Jeremy almost joined Chelsea and Como recently as well. Yeah, so he stayed. And obviously, him staying was massive for Deportivo. But I guess we'll talk about that quickly. I'll ask you, are you, obviously January's, not too far away. Are you worried about losing either of these players in January?
I hope not, because I that's kind of why I won't say, well, we are top 6 contenders, but are we top 2? I will wait until the end of January if
you keep these guys.
Yeah, because I think I would say between the two, which one I would trust more to stay, I would probably say David Mayer, just because he is actually from Galicia, whereas Yerma is from like the Canary Islands, which is what Las Palmas, and he will be going to Las Palmas in January, as in to play a game there. But yeah, I think overall we'll see what happens in January.
I think that'll be obviously important to you, whether you guys get promoted or not. I think if you can keep those guys, and I think you've got a chance for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'll be honest, Jeremy would have been great in this Como team because I've been watching Como. I watched them earlier today against Torino, 5-1. This is a team that people you have to keep an eye
could
on.
make Champions League.
Yeah, you said it. You said it. I'm saying just guys, Como, keep an eye on them. Unfortunately,
keep an eye on Roma.
Roma, top of Serie A as well. But sadly, we're not talking about Serie A. We're talking about Serie B, where
probably next season as well. Serie B.
Oh my God! Look, Palermo, more disappointment, more shambles. You could say we couldn't beat Virtus Entella. And for all the fans, fans, but all the people watching that don't really follow Italian football, I'd be very surprised if any of you have heard of Virtus Entella. Because I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of them until Palermo played them in the Serie C playoffs, which we won and got promoted back to Serie B. I hadn't heard of them because we weren't in the same group as them. Because in Serie C, it's, there's the north and the southern groups, and there's like 4 different groups divided from north and south. So we didn't play them in the regular season, and until then, I hadn't heard of Virtus Entella until we played them. So I'd be surprised if many people who don't follow Italian football would have heard of them. But Palermo couldn't beat them, and Virtus Entella are a newly promoted team into Serie B. Look, to be fair, they're doing okay. They're outside the relegation zone and stuff. They haven't actually, funnily enough, and I didn't even know this, they haven't lost at home for almost a year. And I know a lot of that was in Serie C, but they do have a really good home record, Virtus Entella. And I predicted a draw. I said we'd draw this game, so I'm not surprised one bit, because Palermo right now are an absolute joke, an absolute disgrace, because once again, these players are letting us down. Obviously, 1-1, they score just before half-time, an absolutely shambolic bit of defending, like completely and utterly shocking. Obviously, we did create chances, weren't clinical, didn't, do the final pass right. There were a few occasions like that. Obviously, Paulo finally ends his goal drought, gets us level in the second half, 58 minutes or so. And I'll be honest, the draw was a fair result from this game. I'm not saying Virtus Entella necessarily deserved to win, but I don't think we deserve to win either. I think we especially didn't deserve to win because we have players that should be doing so much better. And you look at these stats. If I find it here, 2 shots on target that whole fucking game. Two shots on target. 17 shots, we could only get 2 of them on target. Yes, I know we hit the woodwork at one point, but still, this isn't good enough. In terms of the team, there were a few changes. Obviously, we know, and I've discussed this in the last show, midfield has been a problem for us. Our midfielders have not been performing. That has been the biggest issue in this team so far. We changed the midfield. I'll be honest, Palumbo, as you can see, they've given him man of the match. I thought he put in a good performance. Obviously, got the assist for the goal. Paulo, it was a good finish actually, just outside the box. But Palumbo, I thought that was one of his better performances for Palermo, definitely. But the others in there, obviously, it was a complete. Inzaghi completely changed the midfield. You got Alexis Blum in there and Vasic. Vasic, who has barely seen a game this season, comes into the midfield for this game. Again, Vasic, I don't see what he offers. I'll be really honest. I don't see what this guy offers. I thought Blam was okay, but again, it was okay. It was nothing special. And once again, you can probably see what I'm going to talk about. Just looking at the formation, we did it again. We did it again. Diakite and Pirozzi in the wrong positions. Pirozzi's, for me, this is just my opinion. Pirozzi's a right wing back. Diakite is a right centre back / right back. I don't know why we keep doing this. I didn't think Diakite was too bad, if I'm being honest. I don't think he was the worst player. But you get way more out of Pirozzi, who for me has been our best player this season at right wing back. I don't understand the logic behind this situation. Obviously, Diakite, I think he was injured. Obviously, Berensinski came on. Pirozzi moved into right wing back. Later on, the subs were very late. You know, Segre until the 70th minute, Giovanni, 77, Corona as well. The reality of what's going on right now is we just aren't good enough. We're simply not good enough. I mean, you look at the table. Down in 6th, 9 points from Monza, who have been on fair play to Monza. They've been on fantastic form. We're not good enough. And I'll be honest, as you can see from the title, I've got automatic promotions gone for me. I know it's still, we are still 6 points from second. Look, it's not a lot when you consider how much football is left to be played. But I'm just telling you the honest truth. We're not good enough. We're simply not good enough. That's the way I see it. We don't have the mentality. We don't have the grit. You know, that was another shambolic performance against Virtus Entella. That was another poor performance where we massively underperformed the level that some of these players should be playing. And you look at it, we've won 5 in 13. You know, we've drawn 5 games. It's not good enough for the level and the expectation coming into the season. It's nowhere near good enough. You know, we won 3 games in 10 or something like that. Like we've had a really, really bad run. And I'll be honest, yes, I think Inzaghi should be doing a couple of things better. But I blame the players more than anyone. I seriously blame the players because it's look, I know we made a lot of changes against Virtus Entella, but it's these same players letting us down in a lot of areas. These same players, they don't have the mentality to get us up into Serie A. It's as simple as that. And that's what I've realised this season, because now we've got a proper manager, unlike the last couple of years, and they're still making the same mistakes. They're still doing the same things that are constantly letting us down. So for me, in my opinion, January's a big window for us. January is a massive window for us because in January, right, and I know our sporting director, Carlo Osti, he was speaking about it. He was basically saying that, look, come January, you know, we'll evaluate the first half of the season, and it sounds like they're definitely planning on dipping into the market, which is obviously good because I think we desperately need to. But we shouldn't be in this position. And like I said, for me, if we're going to get automatic promotion, it's going to take a lot. I know Modena are starting to slip a little bit, as I predicted. I said that they wouldn't, you know, be in the top 2, although they still are, to be fair. But I knew that they would start to, you know, slip a little bit, Modena. Sadly, it's those bastards Frosinone that I do think right now, I would probably make favourites behind Monza to finish second, sadly. But we're simply not good enough, and the mentality stinks. It absolutely fucking stinks. It's as simple as that. We're in a familiar position to where we've been the last few years, 6th, 7th, 8th, around that sort of range. What's changed? Like, what has actually changed? That's what I've learned, I would say, for the past couple of months now. Since that start of the season where I was quite impressed. We were creating a lot. We're not creating anything now. We're creating jack shit, if I'm being honest. Yeah, 10. What are your thoughts? Another uninspiring, just nothing performance against Virtus Entella. And it's more points that sees us drop further down the table.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the highlights of this game, and obviously to see... I forgot what I predicted for this game. Maybe also a draw.
I think you said 1-1. I said 0-0. So you got it right, I think. But I knew we'd draw. I knew we'd draw. I'm not even surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, I've been saying it probably ever since the start of the season, and then eventually said it a lot more, and I'm still going to say it. Palermo just look uninspiring to
We have no
watch.
balance. That's why the midfield is a problem, because
Yeah,
we have no link between the defense and the attack. We're so just unbalanced in everything we do. Yeah, Stroppa,
oh
exactly.
yeah,
Venezia, I wouldn't write off either.
yeah, but yeah, as I said, with like Palermo being uninspiring so far, it's not really apart from the 5-0 against Pescara.
I mean, look where Pescara are.
Yeah, like there's not really been a game apart from the 5-0 that I've been impressed with. Maybe Udinese in the cup, but that's like
But the one I'll be honest. Well, the one I was quite impressed with was Sub-Zero away. That one
oh
I was
yeah,
quite impressed with
2-1.
that one. And look, even Reggiana at home on the first game, I was quite impressed with. But
Yeah,
since those are
but
the only
it's very
performances where
true.
I've been, and even then I've said we need to be more clinical and everything. And now we're not creating anywhere near as much as that.
Yeah, and I think maybe players like Paulo hasn't really. Obviously, he scored in this game, but why hasn't he been
I
scoring?
think again it's the midfield,
Wins
if I'm
before.
honest. I mean, Poyampalo, look, I've criticised his individual performances, which yes, I think he needs to do more in terms of holding the ball up and that sort of thing. But I'll be honest, the more I watch Palermo, the less I actually blame our attackers, the more I blame the midfield. Because we don't provide, there is no link, but we have a massive hole in the middle, no matter who we put there.
Yeah, and I think also maybe the injuries haven't really helped in the past few games for Palermo. Obviously, Ranocchia
Right, okay. Well,
was
he was
suspended.
suspended, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe he was probably a miss for Palermo in this game against Virtus Entella. But I think overall, as I said, just not been impressed in many games so far from Palermo. Whereas, like, if we don't want to talk about Deportivo, but there's been games Deportivo you've been like, wow,
Yeah, you
the
guys have
form
like
against
played. You've gone and
Oscar,
played the other team off the park and
5-1,
everything. And look,
and
we have to. The
yeah,
thing is, it is quite difficult to compare because the way
yeah,
Spanish football is played is quite different to Italian football, especially
Italian,
Serie
yeah,
B. In Serie B, there is a lot of defending and stuff. There's a lot of, especially in Serie B. There's quite a few
yeah.
teams in this, more so than Serie A. There's a lot of teams in this league that like to stick it out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and obviously with the quality you would expect Palermo to have, you expect Palermo to at least like you know win some of those games where you haven't won, and that's kind of been the disappointment so far for Palermo is that haven't really gotten a good I don't know like not there's not been a good run of form I as far as
I'm
I
winning
remember of
five, and
Palermo.
it's even more than that. I know
Yeah,
that for a fact.
so I think the longest winning streak Palermo's had is two,
Two.
I
Yeah,
think,
two. That's the longest.
so far
And
this
that's the same
season.
shit as last season. We didn't win two. We didn't win more than 2 games in a row the whole of last season.
Yeah, and at the moment we're heading towards December,
When was
and
the last time Palermo won 3 games in a row? That we haven't. I can't even remember. Oh, actually, I know. I know exactly when it was. It was that golden purple patch period that we had that I always talk about when under Corini, where I'm like, man, you should have been there because like that is probably the best football Palermo have played since we came back to Serie B. That little 4 or 5 game run where we were just spanking everyone, and we went second, and then as soon as we went second, we fell off a cliff and finished sixth.
yeah, but I think overall for um for Palermo, I think as you said about the balance with the midfield, I think also just there's not been any sort of inspiration. Probably not a lot of leaders in this team, as you would probably expect. Obviously, with an experienced coach like Inzaghi, not the one at Al Hilal, but the one
His
for
brother,
Palermo.
brother.
Yeah. But I think there's not been haven't seen a lot of leaders, you can say, in this Palermo team so far this season, and that could play a factor because obviously, if you really want to get rid of that 5-0 win against Pescara, in terms of goals scored, it's 11.
Yeah.
If you
we've scored 16 goals. 5 of them have been in one game. So then that would, if you take that away, that's 13. That's 11 goals in 13 games.
Yeah, and 10 conceded. So you're not even like what do you call this?
Look, we have the third best defense in the league, but still, we're definitely leaking goals now. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, the defending on Saturday was like shit, absolute shit. Same with the Juve Stabia in the game before, absolute dog shit defending.
And even Monza before the 5-0.
Oh yeah, we got turned over 3-0 at home.
Yeah,
we should be losing. I'm sorry, we should not be losing at home, especially 3-0.
Yeah, and fun fact, Deportivo is still unbeaten at home. But I think for Palermo, as I said, just not been as inspiring. Like, even I don't know when there could be a run of games, at least like 3 wins in a row for Palermo. In like maybe the next couple of months, I'm not sure. But I think, Palermo is still in the top 8, the playoff area. But obviously, you know how that went last season, so we don't want to do that again.
I mean, you know what's funny? As the table stands, we'd play Juve Stabia in the playoff again. As it stands, if the table ended today, we'd play Juve Stabia in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. But I think overall, I will say still too early, and I think have to wait until after January.
We need a big
but
window. I've realized now that we need a big window in January.
Maybe some players to get sold.
Odds, yeah. Catanzaro, yeah. I mean, we lost to them. Yeah. We gave them their first win of the season.
Oh yeah, and I even said they
did, yeah. But I think in January, I mean, there are players I would sell. Like, there's probably, I mean, especially the midfielders like Vasic, I would get rid of. Blen, I'd probably get rid of. I'd probably sell Ranocchio if I'm honest. Ranocchio or one of those. Segre. He's been one of our best players, but this season he hasn't been the same as before. Gomez, I'll probably keep, but I mean, I'll be honest. Like I said, I'd be getting rid of at least 2 midfielders in January, and signing definitely. See, here's what I'd do in January. I'd sign obviously a midfielder. I would sign probably either a DM, a number 6, or a number 8 that's actually good on the ball. I'd sign. And the other player I'd sign is a winger because we are so predictable right now. The way we've built this squad is all suited down to a 3-4-3 with wing backs, 2 number 10s and everything. For me, we need to just get someone in that has pace because we're one of the slowest teams I've seen. We don't have any pace whatsoever. So I would just get a bit of pace in. Even if it's a player that can come off the bench that doesn't really start for us. I would just get someone in that just gives us something different. Makes us less predictable from what we've seen. Now, that's what I would do, personally. Just to have we just don't have any pace in this team whatsoever.
Yeah, and even like looking at the table for Palermo to be in where you are right now is not good because, you kind of expected.
Listen, this team, it's not just about quality, it's the mentality. This team aren't dealing with the expectation. Everybody has expected Palermo to finish top 2 and get promoted this season, including me. These players have folded under the pressure. They folded again because last season we expected it. This season we've expected it again, and they're doing the same thing. They can't deal with the weight of the expectation, I don't think. That's just what I'm seeing, just the way they're playing.
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to be we'll find out in the next game. It's at home. Carrarese. Maybe you get the result finally.
Carrarese at home. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it. Look, they've been, I'd say, a bit of a mixed bag. They had a good start to the season. They're on a bad run of form now. They haven't won in their last 4 games, with 2 of them being losses. Look, to be fair to them, they have got some good results. They did beat Venezia 3-2, albeit it was at home. A late comeback in that game. Carrarese, they're a team. We didn't beat them last year. Lost away and drew at home on the last game of the season. I'll be honest. Look, I know they're kind of, not in the best form right now, but, they're 16 points. They're, 4 points behind us. If they win, they go 1 point behind us. I'll be honest. I don't think we lose, but I think we draw. I hate to say it because this is like a must-win. When you say must-win, this is a must-win game. This Carrarese, with the form we've been on, this has to be nothing less than 3 points. It's as simple as that, especially because we're at home, especially as the home team at the Barbera. This can be nothing more. This can be nothing less than 3 points. But I have no trust in these players. No trust whatsoever. I'm saying 1-1. I'm saying a draw. That's just what I hope. I'm wrong. I hope we win, but I just can't see it. I've been given zero, especially the last 2 games. I've been given zero encouragement, zero. So yeah, we draw. I hate to say it, but I think we drop points again. What's your thoughts on our next game?
I'll wait for the next show to give an even funnier prediction.
I know what game you're talking about.
But for this game against Carrarese at home, probably want to build at least some confidence heading into that game in 10 days, 2 weeks from now. But against Carrarese at home, I'll probably go like a 2-1 Palermo. I think maybe Palermo gets...
Yeah, see, look, Dan Trump said it. That absolute clown we're playing against next. That absolute just fraud, Dionisi, that completely ruined everything last season. Look, I'll be honest, he was a terrible manager, but it's being proven that, look, it wasn't entirely him. There's a clear issue with a lot of these players. But yeah, you just have to go and listen to some of the stuff he said. Obviously, look, we'll talk. Look, I'll have a lot to say about him on the next show when we preview the Empoli game. But yeah, sorry, carry on with.
I'll go with a 2-1 for Palermo.
You think we win?
Yeah, and then you know what happens against Empoli. So
listen, I hope you're right. I hope you're right about this Carrarese game. It's funny, Carrarese, they were a newly promoted team last year. We didn't beat them when they were a newly promoted team. So, yeah, I'm not confident. And like I said at the start of the show, it's just depression TV right now for me because both my teams are just absolute shits right now. So, yeah, another week, another shit show, basically. And I think Palermo, as we're talking about Palermo today, I think that'll be the case next week as well. But we'll have to see. Fingers crossed, I'm wrong. Hopefully we get back to winning ways. But yeah, I guess that does wrap up another episode of La PIÑA ROSA. Look, it's going well for Deportivo right now, but for Palermo, it's going the complete opposite way. Very, very sadly. But let's hope we can turn things around very soon. But yeah, Tem, as always, big up for coming on. I see you've put a link in the chat for your watch along tomorrow. Newcastle, of course, playing Marseille in the Champions League. So go and check that out tomorrow, guys. But yeah, Ten, any final words on everything we spoke about today? And yeah, shout yourself out as well.
Yeah, obviously doing a watch along tomorrow. I would love if we smash MG and Marseille. That would be glorious. But and so that we can still be above Spurs no matter.
By the way, Man United are losing to 10-men Everton. It's half time.
Well, what's the score? 2-0, 1-0?
1-0.
Who scored?
Dewsbury Hall.
Damn. But yeah, doing a watch long for Marseille Newcastle, an actual big night. Unlike Man United Everton, that's not really big. The Champions League is bigger. So yeah, doing a watch long tomorrow, and obviously we'll be back with our show on Thursday, which will be. Well, I'm not going to speak too much on it. Our show on Thursday because I have to see.
Just go and look at his thumbnail. Just go and check out his thumbnail.
But obviously, it could also be as bad if Newcastle lose
Man, you might at least have one win. You might lose to Marseille, but you might have one win because you beat City.
But imagine
for me, I'm going to have 2 absolute embarrassments.
But imagine if MG scores a hat trick on us. Imagine that, MG. That would be crazy if he scores a hat trick against us. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Because I did predict 0-0, but obviously I hope it's like 5-0 for us.
Oh yeah. By the way, has my audio changed? Has the sound changed?
No, now it's good.
Oh, because my mic like went off for some reason.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, guys, that is it for another show. Look, Thursday's probably going to be the most depressing year of the bird show I've ever done. So
yeah, just wait after the Newcastle game against a certain team on the 14th. Maybe I'll make a thumbnail on
that. Yeah, look, we'll see what happens. But yeah, big up everyone big up to everyone that tuned in today in the chat. We will see you in the next one.